And there it is. I was muted. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And welcome to Monday Night America here on the NDB Media Network, the longest running program on the internet, the longest running regularly scheduled program on the internet, 17 years plus. So we started in September of 2008, and we've been going and blowing ever since then. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we're going to get to it. I have some news. I've been debating starting a new program. I don't know if I'm thinking of switching from evenings to mornings. And I've been wanting for the longest time, I've been desiring for the longest time to have a morning program. And that may be in the works. I'm going to have to mull that stuff over. But I don't like doing programs in the evening anymore. But I'm here. We're going to continue for the longest time. Monday night will probably, if anything, will move to a weekly program. No, a daily program. Monday through Friday. It'll probably be Monday morning in America for all I know. But I don't know. I'm thinking about it. The evenings just don't do it for me anymore. But I enjoy being here, and I thank everyone for joining me. Don't forget, head on over to ndbmedia.net. Check out everything that's going on, and let me know who's in the chat room. Thank you for joining me. I re-upped for the Regal plan, and I'm in for 3 months. I got a 4th month free. So I went to the theater today, and I saw Jurassic Park Rebirth. And I suppose I will review it. I don't want to give out. I'm going to give you my opinion, I suppose. It's been out for a week. If you haven't seen it, maybe skip over for the next 2 minutes or so. And let's see, should I even have something going here? So let's see, stopwatch, no timer, no stopwatch. There we go. If you don't want to hear about the movie, come back in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Jurassic Park Rebirth. It's now the 7th movie in the series. Scarlett Johansson's in the movie. That's why I want to go see the movie. Come on, let's be real. Why else did I go? It is, of course, the movie is a Universal production and with Amblin Entertainment, Steven Spielberg. I got to tell you, the previews went almost 30 minutes for this movie. And it was tough. I was tired already going into the movie, but I hadn't been in the theater for a few months, so I don't know. But the movie runs about 2 hours, 15 minutes or so. And I have to tell you, at the 35-minute mark, I looked at my watch. The only time I look at my watch if I'm wanting to see a movie is to see how much time there is left. Like, it's like, man, I'm really enjoying this movie. And I want to know. And I remember the first time I did that was for the Hunt for Red October. I knew the time it started. I looked at my watch, but we still have an hour left. That was awesome. 35 minutes in, I'm like, ugh. Scarlett was awesome. Well, it was great seeing Scarlett Johansson. But, folks, they need to come up with some better ideas. I mean, we've seen it before. There's obviously they're taking from every movie that comes before it, but I saw a lot of the third movie in this movie, and I think the last 3 had more to it. I don't know if there was a bit of aliens, and when you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Alien Resurrection. And it has nothing to do with Rebirth, but Alien Resurrection. And I think you'll understand, but yeah, it is what it is. I don't know if I'd recommend this movie. And that was exactly 2 minutes. So I'm back, and it is what it is. So, want to get into my shtick. I only have a few minutes left in the program. I'm down to like 30 minutes, and sometimes 45 minutes, but I have a few things I want to go over. These happened over the last 2 weeks, so I ask you to bear with me. Only in America. The Trump administration has approved Florida's proposal to build an alligator Alcatraz for migrant detainees. State Attorney General James Othmeyer said that the 5,000-bed facility to be constructed on the site of an old airstrip in the Everglades will be cost-effective because you don't need to invest that much in the perimeter. People get out, there's not much waiting for them other than alligators and pythons. Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Nowhere in America. Minnesota-based Hormel Foods is suing Johnsonville, the Wisconsin Bratwurst Company, for allegedly stealing its sausage secrets. Hormel's federal lawsuit accuses Johnsonville of poaching its employees, at least one of whom allegedly defected to Johnsonville with a trove of product formulas, processing procedures, and other confidential business information. Adds Hormel, by way of context, the sausage market is increasingly competitive. It was a good week for sharing after Pavel Durov, founder of messaging app Telegram, revealed that his $13.9 billion fortune will be divided equally among his 106 biological children when he dies. Durov, who's 40, has 6 kids with 3 partners and has sired 100 more than anonymous sperm donations. They're all my children and all have the same rights. It was a good week for making it official after U2 guitarist The Edge formally became a citizen of Ireland, his home for 62 years. I'm a little tardy with the paperwork, said The Edge, born David Howell Evans in England 63 years ago. It was also a good week for Made in America after the U.S. government announced plans to build an $8.5 million factory in Texas dedicated to the production of flesh-eating screwworm flies. Now, the name is funny. I know of them. I think I saw them once somewhere, something, but it's still damn funny. Screwworm flies. Specifically, the factory will genetically engineer sterile male flies to be released into the wild, leading to fewer eggs laid by females in the flesh of American cattle. Yeah, I guess they're going to be screwing the screwworms. In a good way or a bad way? It was a bad week for layovers after British Airways flight crew was mistakenly booked into an Italian love hotel, if only, for an overnight stay in Milan. Many of the 12 staffers were kept awake by thrill seekers moaning, said a source, and those who stayed in the sex dungeon didn't get any sleep at all. Of course they didn't. It was a bad week for techno kings after lawyers for Elon Musk, who is suing OpenAI for breach of contract, claimed in a court filing that the client has no more emails to turn over and in fact does not use a computer. As recently as May, Musk posted on X that he was still using my ancient PC laptop with the @Doge sticker made long ago by a fan. It was also a bad week for Joy after Chinese officials ordered a hotel in Chongqing province to end its popular wake-up service of having adorable red pandas frolic on guests' beds. Scientist Sun Quanhui noted that the animals are endangered, can carry diseases, and sometimes bite guests. It's a bad week, folks. It was definitely a bad week. Taking a look at a few other items. Oh, we obviously were not on last week because I had a prior engagement. What did I had some notes from last week. Was it 13 facts of the original 13 colonies? Don't know if you know this, but New Hampshire was the first colony to grow potatoes, not potatoes, potatoes. New Hampshire was the first of the American colonies to form an independent government, as well as the first colony to have a state constitution. Yet it's the humble potato that might be the Granite State's biggest contribution to American history. Potatoes were brought to the colony several times during the 1600s, but it wasn't until 1719 that the first permanent potato patches were established by Scotch-Irish immigrants near Londonderry, New Hampshire. From there, the popularity of potato spread, making them the most commonly consumed vegetable in the USA today. And since 2013, the state vegetable of New Hampshire. Massachusetts was named for its indigenous peoples. In 1620, English settlers, many of whom were religious pilgrims, arrived on the Mayflower in what is now Plymouth, Massachusetts, forming the second permanent settlement of British colonies in the New World, after Jamestown, Virginia in 1607. A larger Greek of English Puritans followed soon after and established the Massachusetts Bay Colony. Indigenous peoples had been living on the land for thousands of years, and the colony was named for the Massachusetts tribe, making the Bay State the first of the colonies to be given an indigenous name. The name Massachusetts comes from the Algonquin word Massachusetts, sounds French, which roughly translates as Great Hill, Small Place. Connecticut's royal charter was hidden in a tree. In 1662, the colony of Connecticut was granted a royal charter by England's King Charles II. But in 1686, King James II, after taking the throne following his brother's death, decided he wanted the royal charter's return so he could establish the Dominion of New England. James wanted to combine the New York, New Jersey, and New England colonies under the leadership of one royal appointed official. The colonists refused because the charter guaranteed them the ability to self-govern and elect their own officials without interference from England. Legend has it that while the matter was being debated in Hartford between the royal governor and the colonists, the candles in the meeting hall suddenly went out. Under cover of darkness, the royal charter was spirited away by colonial captain Joseph Wadsworth and hidden in the trunk of a nearby white oak tree. The tree came to be known as the Charter Oak, a symbol of freedom, and in time, the Connecticut State Free Tree. I understand that due to the Magna Carta, the king could only go so far in England. But did that also apply? Well, does it apply in the colonies? Did it apply in the colonies? Does it matter? Rhode Island's founder was kicked out of Massachusetts. The founder of Rhode Island, Roger Williams, my tocayo, also established the first Baptist church in colonial America. And his views about religious freedom led to his banishment from the Massachusetts colony. In 1636, the banished Williams and his followers purchased land from the Narragansett people. Williams had disapproved of how the land was taken from the indigenous population and settled on Narragansett Bay. Rhode Island was governed on the basis of religious freedom and the separation of church and state, making it a haven for religious minority groups, including Baptists, Quakers, and Jews. In 1763, the Touro Synagogue was dedicated in Newport, Rhode Island, making it the first Jewish synagogue in New England and only the second synagogue in the colonies after the one in New York. You know this one. New York was established by the Dutch. So, 12 things you didn't know. When the Pilgrims left England in 1620, they were sailing for the Hudson River because they had heard good reports about the area following English explorer Henry Hudson's Dutch-sponsored journey in 1609. Unfavorable weather conditions led the Pilgrims to settle near Cape Cod. Yeah. But their impending arrival in the New World spurred the Dutch traders to colonize Manhattan before the English could arrive and stake their claim. The colony of New Netherland, not New Netherlands, but New Netherland, was established by the Dutch West India Company in 1624, encompassing parts of modern-day New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey. The Dutch settlers established the settlement of New Amsterdam on the island of Manhattan. 40 years later, the English took control and renamed the area New York. The city went on to become the first United States capital after the American Revolution. New Jersey is home to one of the oldest colonial legends. Early American history is filled with myths and legends, as is today, many of which were based on indigenous folklore. One of the most enduring mythical creatures from the original colonies is the Jersey Devil, a terrifying beast said to stalk the forests of New Jersey's Pine Barrens, also called the Pinelands. Different versions of the story exist, but all share a similar narrative. In 1735, a woman named Mother Leeds learned she was pregnant with her 13th child and cried out, "Let it be the devil!" She then gave birth to a monstrous devil baby who flew out of the window into the forest. The legend is rooted in the different culture, religious beliefs held by both the European colonists and the Lenape people who lived in the area. Pennsylvania was founded as payment for a debt. Several of the original colonies was established under proprietary charters with land grants that were given to individuals based on their relationship with England's king. In 1681, an English Quaker writer and intellectual, William Penn, yes, Justin Fields, thank you, Jeff Bezos got married. It happens to the best of us. From King Charles II as payment for a debt the king owed to Penn's father. The king gave the younger Penn the territory between Maryland and New York, allowing Penn to establish the province of Pennsylvania, named for his father. The colony was known for being a safe haven for Quakers and open to all faiths. Delaware also declared independence from Pennsylvania. And there's a story about how, well, that'll be for another program. In 1682, the year after Pennsylvania colony was established, the Duke of York sold William Penn the deed to 3 counties in lower Pennsylvania that made up modern-day Delaware. At first, the 3 counties were governed as part of Pennsylvania, but in 1704, they were allowed to form their own separate elected legislature. This division created 2 colonial assemblies, the upper counties of Pennsylvania and the 3 lower counties of Delaware, governed by a single governor. On June 15, 1776, Delaware declared itself independent from both British and Pennsylvania authority. Maryland's first documented pirate was a leader of the Virginia colony. This one I did not know. The Delmarva Peninsula separates the Chesapeake Bay from the Atlantic Ocean, which made the bay very attractive to pirates and privateers in the early days of the colonial settlement. Delmarva was what I was thinking of when I mentioned Delaware, that there was a state that would take part of Maryland, part of Pennsylvania, part of Delaware, and become Delmarva. But that's another program for another day. The first act of piracy in Maryland history was committed in 1635 by William Claiborne, a member of the Council of Virginia. Claiborne was established, or I should say, had established a settlement and trading post on Kent Island, which was part of the Virginia colony at the time. However, when King Charles I granted a royal charter to George Calvert, Lord Baltimore, the map was redrawn to include Kent Island in the Maryland territory. Refusing to relinquish his claim to the island, Claiborne ordered his men to raid a Maryland fur trading port on Palmer Island, modern-day Garrett Island, and went on to attack Maryland ships in Chesapeake Bay. Claiborne's religion eventually led to the Maryland Assembly giving him or charging him with grievous crimes of piracy and murder. I have to look at the word murder. I'm doing that right now. Is it murder? Yeah, murder. M-U-R. Murder is an archaic or dialectal variant of the word murder, referring to the unlawful killing of a person with malice afterthought. It is not commonly used in modern English, but can be found in historical texts, literature, and some regional dialects. Murder. Oh, did not know that one. Virginia had witchcraft trials too. Had I known, I would have moved over there and I probably would have had a divorce much more cheaply. About 24 trials for witchcraft took place in Virginia between 1626 and 1730. Darn it! Don't have my time machine with me. The most famous of which was the trial of Grace Sherwood, who was convicted of witchcraft after ending a trial by water method known as ducking. On July 10th, 1706, Sherwood's thumbs were tied to her toes and she was ducked in the Lynn Haven River. The belief was that an innocent person would sink and drown while a true witch would survive the ordeal. After being thrown from a boat, Sherwood was able to free herself and float, thus securing her conviction for witchcraft. She became known as the Witch of Pungo and spent several years in jail before eventually being released. Did you know about North Carolina's lost colony of Roanoke remains a mystery? In 1587, 2 years after the first failed attempt to establish a settlement on North Carolina's Roanoke Island, a group of more than 100 English colonists made a second attempt, forming the first English outpost in the New World. John White, the governor of the new colony, left his family to return to England for supplies, but when he finally made it back to Roanoke in 1590, everyone was gone, including his daughter and granddaughter, Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the Americas. DNA and archaeological research suggests the group may have split up, with the majority going on to live on Hatteras Island with the Croatan people, and the rest going to live near the Chohan River near the North Carolina border. But more than 430 years later, there are still many questions and answers of what became known, or of what's become known, of the lost colony of Roanoke. South Carolina had a booming indigo trade. South Carolina was the first of the colonies to successfully grow indigo, a crop so vital to the colony's economy that it was referred to as blue gold. Indigo's production and subsequent success in the colonies is attributed to teenager Eliza Lucas, later Eliza Pinckney, whose father shipped indigo seeds to America from Antigua in the 1730s. Her father also hired Nicholas Cromwell, the name Cromwell, a dye-making expert from Montserrat, to guide her. Cromwell was caught sabotaging the dye-making process and was dismissed. What is it with the Cromwell name? English history is loaded with a baddie or two Cromwells. Only to be replaced by his brother Patrick, who was also caught sabotaging Lucas' production efforts. The Cromwell brothers had good reason for concern. Indigo dye was a major export for Montserrat, and competition with South Carolina would ruin the island's economy. Despite the setbacks, Lucas and the enslaved people on her father's plantations learned how to successfully process the subtropical bush. They were so successful that when Lucas married Charles Pinckney in 1744, she used her indigo crop as dowry, and the couple shared their seeds with other plantation owners. However, indigo's success was dependent on the labor of the enslaved people on the plantations, and the increasing demand for the dye in England unfortunately led to an increase in the number of enslaved laborers to keep up with production. And finally, Georgia was founded as a colony for social reform. Thank you, Gridiron Girl. Appreciate the love. In 1732, King George II signed a charter that established Georgia as the last of England's North American colonies. Founded by prison reformer James Oglethorpe and a group of like-minded trustees, Georgia was envisioned as a charity colony for England's worthy poor. The colony laws outlawed slavery and forbade large landholdings. Oglethorpe and the other trustees couldn't hold office, earn a salary, or own land in the colony. However, the settlers in Georgia, many of whom arrived from other colonies, believed enslaved labor was the only way for the colony to achieve prosperity. Ultimately, the slavery ban, along with many of the other restrictions the trustees had placed, was lifted in 1751. 13 facts, folks. Happy birthday, America, 249th birthday. That was just a few days ago, 3 days ago, as a matter of fact. And the big 250 is coming up next year. Looking forward to it. So we'll see. Do I have any other, maybe news I might like to get to? Well, we know Justin Bieber's marriage appeared to be on the rocks with Hailey Bieber. Bieber. But they were spotted out and about without her wedding ring. Yeah, okay. Whatever. Yeah, I think that's it. I've got most of the stuff that I wanted to go over today. So here are a few quotes that we'll go by. A melancholy lesson of advancing years is the realization that you can't make old friends. Christopher Hitchens, quoted in The Knowledge. Statistics are like a bikini. What they reveal is suggestive, but what they conceal is vital. Business professor Aaron Levinstein, quoted in Africa Foot. I've never been a millionaire, but I just know I'd be darling at it. Dorothy Parker, quoted in Vulture. This is probably me. Do I contradict myself? Very well, then I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes. Walt Whitman, quoted in The Bulwark. Oh, that is cool. We forget all too soon the things we thought we could never forget. Oh, boy. I was able to do World War II from September 1st, 1939, all the way through this September 2nd, 1945, without looking at notes. Man, I could do it in an hour. It's awesome. All I needed is a map and a stopwatch. The movie? Don't worry, Yudi. The map and a stopwatch. I know I'm butchering the quote, but come on. 1990. Hunt for Red October. Although power corrupts, the absence of power corrupts absolutely. Zbigniew Brzezinski, quoted in The Economist. Yep. When I feel the heat, I see the light. Yep, that's happened to me quite a bit. So, good enough. Well, folks, that's pretty much going to bring an end to this program. I want to thank everyone for joining me. If you have any comments, let me know what you think. I am looking at doing a weekly morning program. If anything, it would probably begin around 5 p.m. Pacific time, 5 a.m. Pacific time, which is 8 Eastern. I'm thinking about it. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. So if anyone is interested in doing a morning program, hit me up. But for now, I am Roger Noriega. Thank you for joining me. This is Monday Night America, the internet's longest running program, regularly scheduled program at 17 years plus. We'll see you guys on the other side. Peace. Thanks for stopping in.